Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, I want to talk to you guys about an interesting topic that got brought to my attention after talking to a client that I was kind of coaching through his business. And what I realized was that, a lot of the times when we make decisions in life, a lot of us worry about whether or not we make the right decisions or the wrong decisions. And I think it's neither of those two things that's actually holding us back. You see, what most people struggle with is actually the ability to make a decision, period, right? And why I think this is because if we look at how we're raised, right? We look at from the day that we're born to the day that we, currently live our lives, we always have somebody telling us what to do. So, you're born, you have your parents telling you what to do through your childhood, then you go to school, you have your teachers telling you what to do, then from school you go to a job and you have your boss telling you what to do. And what happens when you always have people telling you what to do, you kind of forget what it's like to just make decisions for yourself. And then you always seek advice from outside people and outside help. And instead of following your own intuition, you begin listening to other people's advice and thinking other people's advice is more important than what you personally think is important yourself. Now, unfortunately, what happens when people do this is people hold themselves back from opportunities because other people might think it's risky, other people might not think it's good for that person, but really nobody knows what's best for you except for you, obviously. So what this client was facing was that internally he knew what he wanted, right? But externally everyone else was telling him that he should go do this other thing. And what I realized was that luckily I went through this process many years ago, right? I think there's a certain type of person that has more problems struggling with this than other type of people, and luckily I've been the rebellious type, right? I've always said kind of like screw you to authority. I never really listened in school. I never really listened when I had my parents telling me what to do. And I think that like little gene or that character trait in me really helped me when it came to entrepreneurship and building that business, because at that point there wasn't really much of a difference between not listening to what people told me when I was going to school and my parents telling me what to do, to not listening to what everyone else was doing when my friends were going to college and my friends were, telling me I should do this with my life and that with my life. So I was able to flip that negative from getting in trouble to a positive now, where now I have this really strong intuition and sense of self-direction where I don't seek external validation for what I should do, right? I kind of just know that what I want to do is what I want to do, and that's it, right? That's just the end of it. And that all comes from having a sense of direction, I guess, right? Right now I have a really strong sense of direction in where my business is going, where my life is going, and I pretty much make all the decisions that I need to make for my life and my business myself. Now, on the flip side, you have other people that grow up and they listen very well, right? These are the A students that we have in school. They listen to everything the teachers say, everything their parents say, and most of them, I'm not going to say everyone because I'm not going to generalize, but most of them, they have a pretty normal life, right? They have a pretty normal life. They go get their college degree, they go get a house, they have a family, and they have a normal life, but it depends on what's okay with you. For me, I don't want a normal life. So when people try and break out of that shell of not living a normal life and starting their own business, but they don't have that sense of self-worth and direction and, intuition yet, it's a really tricky hurdle to get over, right? From going from constantly seeking the advice from others to now listening to yourself and ignoring all these opinions of other people. So the reason why I wanted to share this video with you guys is because I know that some of you guys may be like the person I was years ago, right? You might be the troublemaker, the person that's getting in trouble with the law, getting in trouble in school, getting suspended, getting expelled. I did all of those things, right? And while all of those things were really bad and I should never have done those things, I think it's that same character trait that caused me to get in so much trouble back then that allowed me to kind of like break out of the norm of society and start my own business and kind of do things my way instead of doing things the way that everyone else was telling me to do them. So that's the first type of person I want to make this video for. The second type of person, you might be the A student, right? The person that's constantly taking advice from others. You're listening, you're doing everything that everyone else is telling you to do, right? You're doing everything right. But still, you might have that little doubt in your mind of, is this really the right thing, right? Maybe it's not. maybe you should listen to your own intuition a little bit more and see where that takes you. You know, because what you don't want to have happen to you is live this life where, you know, you listen to the advice of your parents, your friends, your family, and 40 years down the line, you are about 35, 40 years old, and you have a breakdown. You're like, I lived a complete lie. You know, you call your friend, you're like, I married this girl and I have this job and I lived this entire life that's a complete lie. I don't even know why I wanted this life. I had followed the advice of everyone and what everyone told me, but this isn't me. And that happens to a lot of people. A lot of people have a freaking crisis when they turn 40 or 50 years old because they realize that everything they did their entire life was just what other people were telling them what to do, and it wasn't really what they truly wanted. So if that's you, you know, don't let that happen to you. It's not a fun place to be in. I had a friend a friend of a friend that happened to, and now after that breakdown, he just sits in his living room on his couch watching cartoons, smoking weed all day, because he's pretty depressed about, you know, wasting the last 30 years of his life. So yeah, you don't want to have that happen to you. So like I said in the beginning of this video, really the problem that most people have isn't making a decision and making the wrong decision. It's not being able to make a decision at all. And that's what you know, my friend had an issue with today. He was stuck on the fence, right? He didn't know if he should say yes, he didn't know if he should say no, and he was just stuck in the middle. And that's what I see plague more people than making the wrong decision. You know, they either follow the advice from others, or, you know, when they have their own intuition kicking in a little bit and they're like, maybe I should go do this thing, they don't know what to do because they've never made a decision for themselves, right? And this is what happens when you have everyone telling you what to do your entire life. You forget how to make decisions for yourself because you're so used to taking the advice of others, you don't know how to make a goddamn fucking decision. And what happens is when you have these turning points in your life where, you know, a new opportunity presents itself and it might be a little bit risky because there's no opportunity without risk, you can't make that decision, right? So I think it's important to start dipping your toes in the water a little bit, making some more decisions for yourself without seeking the advice of others. Because when an opportunity presents itself, you don't want that to pass you by because you can't make a clear yes or no decision and you're stuck thinking about it, right? And this is what happens to so many people. They don't make clear decisions and they think, maybe should I do this? Should I not do this? And instead of, you know, having them make the decision themselves, time ends up making the decision for them by letting the opportunity completely pass because they weren't able to make up their minds for themselves. So make sure you guys make decisions and you're good at making decisions. And this is one of the first things I actually implemented when I started my business, was being more decisive. If you guys have read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, it's a great book. Definitely recommend it. The main takeaway that I took from that book was that successful people are decisive. They know what they want, they have a clear direction of where they want to go, and if something is going to get them closer to that, then they make the decision to do that, and if it doesn't get them closer to that, then they don't do the thing, right? But it all starts with, I guess, having a clear sense of direction and also being decisive. So make sure you guys are good at making decisions, and you know, other than that, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Right now I'm staying here in this cool little tree house. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's this tree house over here, and then there's like this lounge area over here. We're here in the jungle, me and my girlfriend, just taking a few days off of work. Kind of, not really. It's more so of a creative rest so that I can strategize about what I want to do when I get back to our house in Canggu, Bali. And, you know, I think a lot of people, they like to ask me these questions like, Julian, do you take breaks at all? And, you know, I guess this would be kind of considered like a break. I don't really usually even do this, right? This is, I think the last time we went out and had a little getaway for a few nights like this was more than 2 or 3 months ago, right? And ever since then, we've pretty much been working every single day. But I do like to do these trips once in a while because it helps me come up with new ideas, and instead of constantly being inside of the business, I get to kind of get out of the business a little bit, think about how things are going at a 10,000 foot view, and come back 10 times more focused than before. So So yeah, it's nice to get out once in a while, and you know, the girlfriend definitely appreciates it as well, because she has to deal with me working 24/7, 365 days a year. But you know, it's worth it in the long run, because the type of work that we do here, it's all front loaded. So instead of working for 8 hours today and getting my $80 paycheck at the end of the day, I work for, you know, maybe the next 2 or 3 years, and then after that I retire for 5 years and vacation and travel, and then maybe I go back to work for another few years, and then I retire for another few years. So that's the way that I like to see things. You know, I know a lot of people might think it's hard to build a business, and it definitely is, but to me it's a lot harder to do the same thing over and over again for the next 30, 40, 50 years of my life. So this keeps it fun, this keeps it exciting, and it's a ton of work in the beginning. So for those of you guys that are starting your business, it's a lot of work up front, and that's why most people can't do it, because you know, you don't see the results right away. It might take you 6 months or a year to get the results that you're getting from the work that you're putting in. And I know that's definitely taken me a lot longer than that. And the work I'm doing today, I'm probably not going to be able to see today or next week either. I'm going to get the rewards of that next year. But those rewards tend to be a lot bigger when you can wait for them like that, versus the instant gratification you get from a 2-week paycheck. So other than that, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, for those of you troublemakers out there like me, learn how to use that little character trait and that skill that you have and turn that into a positive. And then for those of you guys that don't know how to make decisions for yourself, take a few risks, make a few decisions for yourself. Who knows, it might end up being the best decision you've ever made in your life, and that's what a lot of people say, right? This risk presented itself, I ended up doing it, and it was the best decision I ever made. So I know that that was the case for me. It's the case for a lot of other people. So anyways, as Julian closing off, I'll see you guys in the next one.